The Feast of the Forest King. One day, the Forest King announced an enormous feast and invited every animal of the forest. "And one of you will receive my boon," the invitation said. "But whomever displeases me will receive a bow," which meant a noose for every animal and knew the king's capriciousness and cruelty. So all the animals came. The Jub Hawk put on its finest clothes, preening its feathers and polished its horns. The Han fluffed its gills and licked its eyes cleaner than they had ever been. The Nara shed a new skin and combed its tails. Every animal presented their very best. All except the Droper, whose coat dripped with cave slime and smelled of wild fungus. "What are you doing?" the Jub Hawk snapped. "Why have you not groomed for the king?" The Dropper yawned. Your posturing looks so unpleasant. Everyone's stiff and miserable." "You should have at least bathed," said the Jub Hawk. "If the king notices you, then you'll surely hang." The Dropper shrugged. At least I'm comfortable." The feast was served, though the king had not yet arrived. The animals praised the spread, though they ate little for fear of appearing gluttonous. The Droper, however, appreciated none of it, tearing into his food like one half-starved. "You fool! This feast is for show," hissed the Jub Hawk. "The king is surely watching." "Then maybe I'd die," the Droper said. Crumbs from a large piece of apple cake spilled from his mouth. "But I will not die empty." Afterwards, and with loud fanfare, the king arrived and took his place at the head table. The animals rose and bowed, all except the Droper, who was so full he could not stand. While the others stood in front of him, blocking his view, he scratched his belly and let loose a roaring belch. All in attendance gasped in horror, but the crowd was so great the king could not see who was at fault.
"Who was that?"
bellowed the king.
"Tell me and you may yet live."
But the animals were afraid of drawing attention to themselves, so no one moved. But the Jub Hawk feared staying quiet even more, and so thought, though it betrayed his friend, he raised one clawed wing and pointed at the now sleeping Droper. "It was him, your majesty. The Droper dishonored your otherwise divine feast." The Droper snored like a wood beetle. His fur was caked with drink and apple crumbs. The king barked his name.
"Wake and speak for yourself."
The Droper startled awake. He looked around and saw all eyes on him, and most notably the Forest King's. He swallowed. "It was a good feast," he said. "I enjoyed it very much, though I may never eat again." Silence boomed throughout the feasting hall. Everyone watched the king, both excited and terrified by what he might do. Without warning, the king's head flew back and he roared in laughter. The other animals remained silent, paralyzed with fear. The foolish Droper grinned sleepily. When the king stopped laughing, he said,
"You will eat again, Droper. This and much more. For more than any other, you have enjoyed the feast I laid out before you, and so you shall receive my boon."
And the king ordered the food be brought to the Droper's cave every day, enough to keep him fed and fat for the rest of his days. Then the king pointed at the Jub Hawk.
"But you betrayed your friend for a boon. You are more treacherous and selfish than any of my subjects, and so your neck shall receive a bow."
And he ordered him arrested. That evening, the Jub Hawk was hanged, but by the time of his execution, the king had forgotten his crime, and so none was posted. The Jub Hawk died for nothing, but the Droper was, and still is, happy to this day. Moral of the story: posture for no one, boons and bows be damned. I love story time.